Hey, well, first push, technology working. Welcome to Homebuyer Seminar, Wednesday afternoons, 4 o'clock. I'm Bill Gross, at Bill Gross Probate on social media, along with my good friend and colleague,
Patricia Castillo.
who's here in between taking listings, and our good friend,
Shannon the lender.
Shannon the Lender. And here we are talking about home buying.
Or home
Shannon,
selling.
I'm sorry,
Or home selling.
or home selling. We love home selling too. But, Shannon's been out for a couple of weeks. In that time period, interest rates have risen 1%. And so on last week's episode, if you're here, you know that Patricia and I point out that it's all Shannon's fault. So if you
I knew it.
applied for a loan and the rate went up quite a bit, here's your chance to call Shannon and blame him for it. He's personally responsible for it. If not Shannon, what is the cause? We have interest rates now back above 7%. What the heck's happening?
I know. I guess lesson learned, I should never miss another first time homebuyer seminar because rates
Yes.
start going up when that happens. So yeah, I mean it looks like rates have gone up and surprisingly there's no news about it. I think the election news kind of overtook everything. And as the elections results came in this morning, I was hoping maybe we would see an adjustment in rates, but maybe not that fast. So yeah, I mean things have gone up at least a full percent. On conventional, you're at sevens. On FHA, I'm at 5.875, which I was almost
That's a good
in.
rate.
Yeah, it's still a good rate.
Mhm.
So again, if you guys, it's based on the scenario. If you guys have a great FICO score coming in good, you can still get a good rate at this market. Obviously, we're talking about first time home buyers. I know conventionals typically a lot higher. So you are going to see 5.875 is going to be minimum 6.875 to 7% at that at that ballpark. But yeah, FHA, you can get in the fives if you qualify in your A paper, as they say. But
Mhm.
they did go up a little bit. That is for sure. That is for sure. So we'll see what, at first it was, hey, let's see what the job report says, the employment rate, and then now it was the election. So let's see. I think the dust is going to settle in the next week or two. We're going to see where things are going to land for a while. So that's my suggestion. But as always, don't let the rates scare you. Try to get in as soon as you can because if the market's crazy now, imagine when the rates really drop. So
Well, I think the feds are meeting tomorrow, right?
yeah,
To have their, they're proposing, or the idea is that they're going to lower the federal funds rate by, 0.25%. So
yeah,
we'll see
that's
what
why I say.
it's in the future.
Exactly. I'd say let's see in the next few weeks where things land. I know everyone's kind of was on ice. Hey, what are happening? What are things are happening? Let's wait till tomorrow. I would say let's wait till Friday, see where things land, and we go from there. But they have been going up a little bit, and surprisingly, I haven't seen any articles about it really. It's just surprising.
Well, a couple things. First off, I see we have some people live. If you're watching live on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn or X, which is really I guess our most popular platform, and you have questions, put your questions in live. If you want to blame Shannon for the interest rates, by all means, this is your
Please do.
chance to get back at him and rip on him about that. It's his fault. He missed a couple meetings and therefore rates went up. And he wants to say it's a coincidence. So we'll see how that plays.
Watch,
And
I'm gonna be here next week. Rates are gonna get better. Let's see.
well, that's your job, man. Of course, they should get better if you're here, right, Patricia?
That's right.
What are we paying you for? Oh, we're not
I
paying you.
know.
So, I have a podcast. I do a weekly real estate market update. And if you're interested, put your email in the chat box or send me an email or text with your email address, and I'll send it to you regularly. It's also my YouTube channel, at Bill Gross Probate. But I have a theory that we had this election season where everything was done. And I think, without getting into the politics of who's right or wrong, I think it's without a doubt that 90% of government employees supported the current administration. And there's a lot of reasons why. Their bosses ultimately are political appointees of the current administration. And for whatever reason, that's just a statistical reality that 90%, for example, of campaign contributions by government officials went to the current administration. And so there's a lot of like thumbs on the scale. And I know that famously we've heard about the jobs reports where they were reporting good jobs, good jobs, good jobs. And all of a sudden, whoops, every job report last year was wrong by 1 million jobs. And I've maintained along the same was true with interest rates, that there was interest rates being low is a good thing for generating activity. It might be in the long run bad if it was artificial, causes inflation, which is harmful. But I do believe people often will look for the short run good and avoid the long term. And that's been the mistake we've made, I think, as a country for too long. But either way, it's interesting that for the last 6 months, Shannon and Patricia, we've been talking about, well, the Fed might be meeting and this, and rates will go up. And like nobody talked about the fact that rates went up 1%. Like it's silence.
Yeah.
Now the election was just yesterday. And I suspect we'll start to see proper coverage of this. You know, what is it? What's the impact on it? But it was the most silent jump in rates in my career. Somebody who literally every week watches headlines and shares with my customer base in a newsletter. And so again, I'm not saying therefore you should have voted this or that way. I'm just saying, I'm just calling the balls and strikes as I see them. There was virtually, and I did a video where I did a screenshot of Google. There was like no mention of the fact that rates went up 0.75%, whereas in the past we'd have a 0.25% jump and all kinds of headlines about, oh, they crossed 6%, they crossed 6.25%. Right. So I think the thing at the end of the day, I think that if I could have one lesson, and I think Shannon said it in a sense, and Patricia, but I'll put a little finer point on it, which is really ignore the headlines. You need to decide what's best for you. If you need a house to raise your family or live in, or investment that pencils out for you, and buying a house makes sense and financing it makes sense at the rates they're at now, buy the house. And if it doesn't, don't. And I think that's the key thing that I find the headlines are so emotional. They're designed to get emotions and get you to click on it and buy advertising rather than promote your financial well-being. And if there's one lesson I want to harp on, and I think Patricia and Shannon are on board with this, which is this is the American dream. You're talking about building wealth, avoiding taxes, saving money, and building long-term wealth and a lifestyle for you and or your family. You know, I have a nice yard in my backyard. It's not the biggest. It's not as big as I grew up in, but I live in the city. But my grandkids love playing in their backyard. And that's part of a lifestyle that I want to have. I don't want to give that up. So you do you, and don't read the headlines. You make sure that your numbers make sense. Make sure you have a great real estate agent like Patricia to help guide you. Have a great lender like Shannon when he's working. And he's not raising the rates on us to help you with the lender. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox.
No, I mean,
yeah, I think the other thing is that, you know, right now we're in the fourth quarter, ending of the year, and a lot of people are, at least people I've spoken to, are reevaluating, you know, their space. I have, you know, a friend that's selling her home in Texas and she's moving to Arizona. And I have a client I met with today that has a rental. He's tired of being a landlord and he's also moving out of state. So, you know, this is a time where people that planned years ago and have rental properties, they're looking to unload those properties and capture all of that equity because homes are still selling at a, you know, pretty robust price right now in this market. They have been all year. And so the people that I've been talking to are looking at scaling their equity that they have and making a move, you know, whether it's buying another property in a different area or even a different state, but looking at what their next chapter is going to look like. You know, they're going to be selling a property, but they're also going to be investing that money and all that capital into another home. So it's going to definitely make the next chapter for them so much better because people are looking for, you know, they're either downgrading and getting into a smaller home or they're upgrading. I also have a client that we're in escrow on right now. They're a younger couple with one kid and, you know, they're looking into getting into a 3-bedroom. Right now they're in a 2-bedroom. So people are making moves right now. There's definitely closings that are happening every day. And I've set that on my social media because that's one of the questions that I get asked is, how's the market? You know, is it dead right now? And I say, no, it's quite the opposite. It's pretty busy right now.
Yeah, I think one of the things that, you know, so often, again, the chatter in our brain is misleading. And one example is if you watch, I'm sure a lot of people watch the news of the election, and either you won or you lost depending on who you voted for. And there's a trap there to think that, if on the winning team and use their strategy, that's good. And if you're on the losing team, that strategy is bad. And the truth is, even the losing team got like 48% of the votes. Now in business, if I got 40% of the business, I'd be happy. Like as real estate agents, we only get 10%. And so I think that there's a drama and a kind of an emotional roller coaster that we can get pushed into if we're watching other people's lives rather than our own. And because in your case, and I say this, like I see the news and it will say, people buying houses for this reason. Well, that's might be why I have 130 bought a house. But if only 2 people buy a house because there's a dog park across the street and you love going to a dog park every day, bingo, there's your house, right? And it's not my house. I don't like dogs. I don't want to live next to a dog park. But if you're one of those people, it doesn't matter that 98 don't like dog parks. If you do, you do you. And I think it's really important as you go through the real estate home buying process that you make sure you're clear on what your reasons are and what your goals are and what's important to you and your values, and pursue those. And don't let other people trip you up. Don't get caught up in comparing other people. Oh, the market's dead. Well, great. If the market's dead, it's kind of like walking into a store when there's nobody else there. That's good news. You get to see all you want to see. I went to a movie a few months ago. There's only 5 people in the theater. Great. We got great seats. I'm fine with that. I don't care. So same with home buying right now. If the market is slower, rather than being overbid, you'll be the one who gets the property. And I think that's the goal for us in the long run.
Yeah. And I want to talk to, if you're watching this right now, and if you're one of these people, please listen. If you're not, learn from them. And that is, if you were one of those people that wanted to wait till the Fed's meeting, and then after the Fed's met, you wanted to wait till elections, and then after the elections, you want to wait till the holidays. It's like between the summertime when you were having all these excuses to now, someone bought a house and someone's already building equity. And a lot of people don't want to realize is no matter what the rate is, please talk to a lender such as myself or whoever, and get what your monthly payment is going to be. Look at that number and ask you and your partner, whoever that is, can we do this monthly payment? Even if we don't have the down payment 100%, because if you have a good enough credit score, we can get you down payment assistance, right? We can get you these programs. It's mainly the monthly payment you're going to be stuck with. And guess what? You're only going to be stuck with that for max 6 payments until you are eligible to refinance. So in 6 months, if the rates go down, right, you could get eligible to refinance and lower that rate. So if you can do it for at least 6 months, worst case scenario, if the rates, because you're getting a fixed rate, I'm not going to get you in an adjustable. So let's just look at that payment as a worst case scenario, because it's not going to go up from there. It can only go down from there.
Shannon,
right?
can I ask you a question?
Please.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
So right now you just said that after 6 months, you can refinance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is this also in line with an FHA buyer buying a property with an FHA loan? Because I know
they can do what's called an FHA Streamline. There's a product called FHA Streamline where you could still stay in an FHA if you wanted to, if you didn't build enough equity. But if the rate's lower enough, you can do, and that's a great question, is yes, if you're an FHA loan, you can refinance into what's called an FHA Streamline, keep your FHA loan, and have a lower rate. So, yeah.
And this is all putting down 3.5%, which is pretty low when you're buying a property. I mean, you're looking at the lender financing 97% of the purchase price, right? Just about. Yeah. So,
and that's not including any credits you get from, great agent such as Patricia or Bill, who can sometimes negotiate, closing costs as well. So,
yeah, we just, like Bill said, when you walk into a store and there's nobody there, that's when you get the great deals, right? Same thing with buying property right now. There's deals that are happening and sellers are more open-minded to negotiating. We just did a home inspection on a property, and I can't disclose the address, of course, because we're not closed yet. But the seller was selling the home as is. And, we sent the home inspection with our request for a credit. And at first they said, well, we think the home inspection's not that bad. It just looks like wear and tear. It's an older home. So we're not going to give you a credit. If anything, it might just be a couple of thousand. And so I'm representing the buyer. So I said, okay, well, we're going to think about it. We're going to sit on this overnight. And so then the next day, the seller, I think, also reconsidered overnight
Oh,
and was open to giving a credit. And it was more than just a couple of thousand, So what we were able to negotiate was a credit that will pay for virtually all the closing costs. So you can imagine that's more than just a couple of thousand, right? So I think the sellers also reconsider because they don't want to cancel the escrow. They don't want to go back on the market. Buyers will ask, why did it cancel? And then you still have to share the same reports, the inspections that we did with another buyer. And so it's when you think about all that work and energy that goes into going back on the market, you might even end up with a price reduction as you get closer to the end of the year. So, taking all that into consideration, it just works out to give us the credit, right? So we ended up getting the credit. So yeah, there's definitely negotiations that are happening right now, and buyers can get a pretty decent home right now in this market if you can afford the monthly payment, right? That's really what it's about, is what can you afford monthly.
exactly.
But I like that option of being able to refinance in 6 months, because that would be right into next year, where we'll see where the rates are at. We'll see if the rates are going to come down a bit. But even if you're in an FHA financing structure, then you're going to be in the high fives, which is a pretty good rate right now. So imagine if they were to drop even lower, you'd be at an even lower rate.
Yep. And last thing I would say for today is I'm qualifying right now a good amount of business owners. So if you're a business owner and let's just say your taxes are not 100% what your income is, if you write off a lot, there are programs out there that will not look at your taxes. They'll look at your bank statements. They'll look at your profit and loss. You will have to put a little bit more down, but again, there are options out there for business owners. If you're watching this and you're a business owner and you're like, oh my God, I have to show my taxes. Yes, you do. If you want to get a conventional loan, if you want to get an FHA loan, if you want to get a loan with down payment assistance, you need to show your taxes, because if you're getting programs from the government, the government wants to see what you show them as income. That's just what it is. But there are a good amount of banks out there. Obviously, they're not, the bank chases, but we do have access to other banks that understand the game, understand, a lot of business owners do write off a lot, and they'll take alternative forms of income documentation, such as, like you said, how much are you bringing in every month in your bank statements, the last 12 months, 24 months, and they'll go based on that number. Again, you're going to put more down, but then you talk to a lender and say, what is more beneficial? Do I pay this X amount in taxes, or do I put that money in towards my equity of the house and go this other direction? And so again, there's no one size fits all. We definitely have to talk to, each person case by case to see, but if you're a business owner, there is another option for you.
That's good to hear.
Yeah,
options are good, because then people feel like there's more opportunity.
exactly.
And there is, right? There is, if you have something to choose from.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're all doing business, right? We're all busy. Patricia, you just got a new listing?
Yes, new listing coming up with a colleague of mine in Hacienda Heights.
Nice.
That's a rental that will be 3-bedroom, 2-bath that will be coming on the market. Really nice area.
I used to live
rental
on
or
the
for
hill.
sale? You said rental, right?
It's currently a rental. Yeah.
Oh, currently rental, but it's going to be for sale, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Delivered
FYI,
vacant.
I'm sorry. FYI, I grew up right over the hill from Hacienda Heights on La Habra Heights.
That's right. You did.
We used to race cars on Hacienda Heights up on East Road, West Road, Kalima. Yeah, that was a bad boy.
You had your own street takeover back in the day?
We didn't take it over. We just raced through there as fast as we could. The street takeover was back on Whittier Boulevard in Whittier. That's where we did that. For sure. I was one of those as one of those guys for sure. And then we would find somebody to race, and we'd go up West Road, and then Colima, and then East Road down to Fullerton Road. Yeah, so I know Hacienda Heights really well. We were there before they built the Buddhist temple. I think at the time it was the largest Buddhist temple in the Western hemisphere at the time. That's why that area grew so much.
It's in that neighborhood.
Yeah, that's why that area became. It wasn't at all, and then one day it just became Asian, and because primarily Buddhists, that's attracted people to immigrate from Korea, and then later China.
Yeah.
Great area. Well, good for you. Congratulations, Patricia. Another listing.
Yes, I'm stacking them for next year. This is what we do, right?
Unfortunately, I have a lot stacked for next year. I don't have anything closing right now. So yeah, let's not talk about that. It's a little aggravating. All my closings keep getting pushed off. So
yeah, and you and I have some together. So right, we're working on a couple of this.
We have one that's getting ready to close, and we have some other ones that are getting ready to cook. Oh yeah, those we had a hearing today, and yeah, we should talk maybe tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Good, Shannon. Business good. How can people reach you if they want to get a hold of you, Shannon?
Yeah, you can reach me on myself, 661-317-8484, or my Instagram, FUND with Shannon.
Very nice. And Patricia, somebody get a hold of you in between your listing appointments and your listings and your closings and all that. How would somebody get a hold of you?
My cell phone is the best way, 323-365-9909.
Great. And I'm at Bill Gross Probate on social media. We do this every Wednesday, often at 4, sometimes 5, somewhere in there. Love to have you join us live. I see some people still on YouTube or LinkedIn, Twitch, Facebook. Put some comments in, say hi, shout out. If you want to blame Shannon for the interest rates, feel free. It's all his fault. I think we established that on the call, right, Patricia?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's going to work.
Send him a DM.
Exactly. He says he's gonna fix it. So we'll all wait and see what happens. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. We'll talk next week.
Bye.
Right. Bye.
Bye.